In a small, dusty town named Creekside, two very different men lived alongside each other, shaped by the rugged landscape of the nearby canyon. One of them was Sheriff Jake Thompson, a tall man with a strong build and a confident demeanor. He had served the town for years, earning the trust of its people with his quick thinking and dedication. Growing up in Creekside, he knew every corner of the town and often took pride in his role as protector. However, beneath his badge, he struggled with ambition and desired more recognition. On the other hand, there was Billy, Canyon Digger, Reed, a hard-working man known for his determination and knowledge of the land. With calloused hands from years of digging in the canyon, Billy had a reputation for being resourceful and brave. He spent his days working hard to support his family, but he often felt like an outsider looking in. The townspeople respected him but rarely saw the courage he showed day after day. The canyon that separated them wasn't just a physical barrier, it also symbolized the divide between their lives. While Sheriff Thompson sought power and control, Billy found value in the simple things: family, friendship, and helping others. These contrasting personalities would collide in a dramatic way, setting off a chain of events that neither man could have predicted. Little did they know that a fateful encounter was about to test their character like never before. On a sunny afternoon, the peaceful vibe of Creekside shattered when Sheriff Jake Thompson received reports of strange noises coming from the canyon. Rumors of a missing herd circulated, igniting his curiosity and sense of duty. Driven by his desire to prove himself as the town's protector, he set out toward the canyon, confident that he would uncover the truth. As he approached the rocks and shifting sands, Jake spotted something gleaming in a shadowed spot, a piece of metal that might belong to the lost herd's equipment. Eager to investigate, he moved quickly, not paying attention to the warning signs around him. Suddenly, the ground beneath his feet gave way. Like a trap snapping shut, Jake found himself plunging into quicksand, which slowly began pulling him down. Panic surged through him as he struggled to escape. The more he moved, the deeper he sank. Time felt like it was slipping away with each frantic attempt to free himself. The nearby canyon walls echoed with his desperate calls for help. A few moments later, Billy Reed happened to be working nearby. Hearing the sheriff's cries, he raced toward the sound and quickly realized what had happened. Without hesitation, Billy dashed to the edge of the quicksand and grabbed a sturdy branch. He reached out to Jake, urging him to grab hold. It was a race against time as Billy pulled with all his strength, determined to save the sheriff trapped in that unforgiving grip of nature. As Billy Reed worked nearby, the rhythm of his pickaxe rang out against the stillness of the canyon. He was digging for hidden treasures beneath the dusty surface, but when he heard the frantic cries of Sheriff Thompson echoing through the rocks, his heart raced. Without a second thought, he dropped his tools and sprinted toward the sound, fueled by instinct and concern. When Billy reached the edge of the quicksand, a feeling of dread washed over him. He saw Jake struggling to stay above the surface, panic etched on his face. The sheriff's confident demeanor was gone, replaced by desperation as he sank deeper with each passing moment. In that instant, Billy knew he had to act quickly. There was no time to waste, Jake's life depended on it. Without hesitating, Billy grabbed a sturdy branch lying on the ground. It was thick and strong, just what he needed for this dangerous rescue. He called out to Jake, urging him to grab hold and offering words of encouragement. With a deep breath, he leaned out over the quicksand, putting himself at risk. If he slipped or lost his balance, he could easily join Jake in that treacherous trap. As Billy extended the branch toward Jake, their eyes met, two men from different worlds united by a shared moment of urgency. With sheer determination and strength of will, Billy pulled with all his might as Jake grasped onto the branch tightly. Their lives intertwined at that moment, showcasing raw heroism and reminding both men of their unexpected connection. After being saved, Sheriff Jake Thompson felt a strange mixture of relief and embarrassment. Instead of gratitude, he found himself grappling with a rising anger. In his mind, the image of himself sinking in the quicksand stirred thoughts of humiliation. What had happened was dangerous, and he needed to make sense of it. In a moment clouded by anxiety, he began to doubt Billy's intentions. Days passed since the rescue, yet the sheriff became increasingly suspicious of Billy's remarkable strength and quick action. Whispered rumors filled the town, suggesting that maybe the digger had set a trap in the canyon to harm him. The sheriff's unchecked ambition to maintain control over Creekside fueled these thoughts. He didn't want to admit his vulnerability. Instead, he convinced himself that Billy had ulterior motives. Driven by this unshakable suspicion, Jake decided to confront Billy. He claimed that the digger had deliberately placed the quicksand there as part of a devious plot against him, a way to seek revenge for past grievances. This accusation shocked the townspeople and stirred unrest within the community. Many favored Billy, seeing him as a hero. However, Jake's position as sheriff lent weight to his claims. As tensions escalated, Billy found himself cornered by both fear and confusion. He couldn't fathom how his courageous act could be twisted into something dark. The bond formed during their harrowing encounter shattered almost immediately under the weight of false accusations, setting the stage for an explosive confrontation between two men who were once united by circumstance. As rumors swirled through the small town of Creekside, the community began to take notice of the sheriff's accusations against Billy Reed. Many townsfolk trusted Billy, recalling his bravery when he rescued Jake from the quicksand. Conversations bubbled over at the local diner and the general store, with people questioning the sheriff's motives. Why would a man known for his courage suddenly turn against a fellow citizen? Among them was Clara, the local schoolteacher, who had always seen the good in people. She gathered her friends, including Tom, a farmer who often worked alongside Billy in the canyon. "This doesn't sound like Billy," she said, concern etched across her face. "He wouldn't hurt anyone. We need to find out what really happened." Motivated by their suspicions, Clara and Tom began their own investigation. They visited the canyon, scouring for any evidence that could shed light on the incident. They spoke to other townspeople who had witnessed the rescue, piecing together a timeline of events. As they dug deeper, they discovered inconsistencies in Jake's story. Meanwhile, whispers grew louder about the sheriff's ambition and how it might cloud his judgment. The townspeople started to rally around Billy, demanding justice and urging the sheriff to reconsider his claims. Clara and Tom quickly became leaders of this movement, determined to uncover the truth and protect the man they believed had acted heroically. The tension in Creekside escalated as both sides prepared for an inevitable confrontation over loyalty, integrity, and justice. In the wake of the sheriff's accusations, Billy, Canyon Digger, Reed found himself at the center of a storm. Once respected for his hard work and bravery, he now faced community backlash that left him feeling isolated. Whispers and glances filled the air whenever he walked through town, and familiar faces turned away, filled with doubt and suspicion. The very people he had helped in the past now questioned his character, believing the sheriff's claims rather than the truth. Billy's heart ached as he watched the townspeople rally around Sheriff Thompson. The man who had once been a hero was now seen as a villain. Determined to clear his name, Billy sought out Clara and Tom, who supported him through this dark time. Together, they devised a plan to gather evidence and show the community that he was innocent. They revisited the canyon, searching for proof that could contradict the sheriff's accusations. However, the challenges were daunting. As they dug deeper, they faced hostility from those who remained loyal to Jake. Some townsfolk warned them to stop asking questions, fearing that they might anger the sheriff further. Despite this, Billy remained resolute, his spirit unbroken by the weight of falsehoods. With Clara and Tom by his side, Billy began to share his side of the story with anyone who would listen, recounting the events of that fateful day in detail. Slowly but surely, cracks began to form in Jake's narrative as people started to see that perhaps things were not as they seemed. The struggle to reclaim his honor would not be easy, but Billy was ready to fight for the truth. As Clara and Tom continued their investigation, they began to uncover key evidence that hinted at Sheriff Jake Thompson's dishonesty and questionable motives. One morning, while examining the canyon area where the incident occurred, they stumbled upon a broken fence post nearby. This post was unusually damaged, suggesting that someone might have purposefully tampered with it to create a distraction or an accident for unsuspecting passers-by. Driven by curiosity, they sought out old records of past incidents in the canyon and discovered a pattern. Jake had often used dramatic events to bolster his own reputation. It seemed he thrived on attention from the townsfolk, seeking to portray himself as a hero who always solved their problems. The realization sunk in: could this be yet another ploy for him to gain more recognition? Meanwhile, locals who had assisted Jake during his search for the missing herd began coming forward with doubts. One witness mentioned overhearing Jake arguing with another rancher about how he needed to regain respect after losing track of the herd. This fueled suspicions that Jake's framing of Billy was rooted not only in anger but also in fear of losing his authority. As Clara and Tom compiled these pieces of evidence, word spread through Creekside. The community began to question the sheriff's narrative even more critically. With each new discovery, Billy's chances of clearing his name grew stronger, igniting hope among those who believed in his innocence and sparking a growing movement to confront the sheriff directly about his actions. Together, they were determined to bring the truth to light. The tension in Creekside reached a boiling point as Clara and Tom organized a town meeting, urging townspeople to come together and confront Sheriff Jake Thompson. As the gathering filled with familiar faces, whispers of support for Billy echoed through the crowd. Clara, fueled by determination, stepped forward to speak on behalf of the digger. "We can no longer stand by and let falsehoods dictate our community," she declared, her voice steady. Jake stood at the front, his expression a mix of defiance and panic as he faced the growing sentiment against him. When Billy was invited to speak, he stepped into the light, his presence commanding attention. "I only wanted to help," he began, recounting the day of the rescue and how he had risked his life for Jake. The townsfolk listened intently as he shared how quickly he had been accused and how the accusations had affected his family and reputation. Just as the crowd was beginning to turn against the sheriff, Clara presented the evidence they had gathered: the broken fence post, testimonies from witnesses, and records of Jake's past. The tension thickened as Jake faced the mounting pressure of his own deceit. "You would have the town turn against me? I've always protected you all," he shouted, but his words fell flat against the weight of truth. Realizing he could not escape the consequences of his actions, Jake's bravado crumbled. I didn't mean for it to go this far," he stammered. The townsfolk, now united in their support for Billy, demanded accountability. In that moment of reckoning, Billy spoke passionately about forgiveness and starting anew. It was a powerful resolution that encouraged healing within the community, allowing them to move forward together. In the days following the town meeting, a sense of justice began to restore order in Creekside. With Sheriff Jake Thompson's admission of guilt, the townspeople found relief in knowing that their faith in Billy, Canyon Digger, Reed was not misplaced. The sheriff's actions had ignited anger and disappointment, leading the community to demand accountability for his behavior. The town council convened to discuss the consequences of Jake's actions. Many residents voiced concerns about how he had betrayed their trust and tarnished the sheriff's badge. Clara and Tom played critical roles in advocating for fair treatment for both men, emphasizing that justice needed to reflect the values of their community. In a historic decision, they voted to suspend Jake from his position pending a full investigation, ensuring that he would face repercussions for falsely accusing Billy. Meanwhile, Billy's reputation began to heal as people recognized his bravery and integrity during the rescue. With Clara and Tom's support, he was reinstated as a respected figure in Creekside. The townsfolk celebrated him at a gathering, expressing their gratitude with heartfelt speeches and a warm reception. As they moved forward, discussions turned toward rebuilding trust within the community. A committee was formed to promote transparency and foster open communication between the townspeople and any future leaders. Through this experience, Creekside emerged stronger, with a renewed commitment to justice and unity. Billy's vindication served as a reminder of the power of truth, while Jake learned valuable lessons about humility and responsibility, transforming the dark chapter into an opportunity for growth for everyone involved. The story of Billy, Canyon Digger, Reed and Sheriff Jake Thompson serves as a powerful reminder of the importance of bravery, truth, and standing up against wrongdoings. Throughout the ordeal, it was ultimately Billy's courage to risk his life in the quicksand that showcased true heroism, reflecting that real strength is found in selflessness and compassion for others. His unwavering commitment to clear his name demonstrated that facing adversity with integrity can inspire a community to rally around justice. On the other side, Sheriff Thompson's journey highlighted the dangers of unchecked ambition and deceit. His desire for recognition led him down a dark path, showing how easily one can lose their moral compass when seeking power over honesty. Through this experience, Jake learned that leadership requires accountability and humility, reminding all that mistakes can be transformed into opportunities for growth. As Creekside embraced its lessons, the town became a model for the values of transparency and trust. The formation of committees to promote open communication ensured that no voice would go unheard, fostering a sense of unity among its residents. The community emerged stronger, proving that standing against falsehoods leads to healing and reconciliation. In this tale, the bonds formed through adversity ultimately prevailed over discord, echoing the belief that togetherness rooted in truth can overcome even the most challenging trials. The moral stands clear: courage and integrity are essential pillars for any community striving for justice and understanding.